We should have everything working now and waiting for people to hop on. Hello, Zina. Hello, Chester. Long time no see. Zina, we're expecting a big crowd tonight. I'm giving a live virtual tour of the observatory, covering the equipment in it, very briefly the software, and how we capture the International Space Station and the Chinese Space Station live in broad daylight. Since the weather is lousy outside right now, it's raining, that's the only live that we're going to have. So very soon I will not be able to pay attention to the chat. So I'm going to defer to the regulars, to Zena and Jeannie and Bill and Jacob, responding to comments as people make them. I expect to be on for just about an hour. Most classes, students cannot pay attention more than 50 minutes. Well, at least in my day, it used to be 50 minutes. Now it's probably more like 5 minutes, but we'll see. Hello, Garlic. Well, we have been blessed with mixed weather here lately, and we were able to get some nice observing, especially lately as I perfected the art of observing stars and planets in broad daylight. That doubled the amount of time that we can be observing, so it gave us an edge over the weather. Zina, is audio good? Are you offering them popcorn and cactus? That's a good combination. Chester, we're trying to take care of the clouds and rain. I have ordered a radio telescope that sees through cloud and rain. And that's going to be the next chapter that we're going to be dealing with here. Funny. I said, is the audio good? I expect to start with the real coverage in about 3 minutes. It's not as critical as the International Space Station overpass, but that's what we will be doing. Hello, Tater. We have finally gotten over the smoke issues. Keeping fingers crossed. We did get battered with smoke from the Canadian Rockies earlier, or the Canadian Plains. Canadian West, the West Canada, Northwest US. You do lead a very exciting life, Chester, if you're watching my videos on the train to London. Thank you, though. I really appreciate it. Now, I'm hoping that YouTube will not take advantage of this live webcast and bombard us with advertising. Good evening, Bill. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. I have 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Tonight, the weather is lousy, so we're going to cover the observatory instead of covering the sky, and taking some clippets back and forth on what we have done during the past year. I'm going to start with the big dome outside. This is the main housing of the large telescope. It is a sky-shed pod made in Ontario, Canada. Very sturdy. I've had it for 4 years, no problem whatsoever. I painted some of it white, reflective white, so that in the summer the temperature does not get too hot inside. Actually, the white paint has dropped the temperature by 20 degrees on very hot days. And it is, the base is 4 foot high, the top is another 4 foot high, so it makes the whole thing 8 foot high with an 8 foot diameter. Going back to when the observatory is open, that's what it looks like. And this is the view from the north, Polaris, and we go all the way around to, this is due east for us, and then we get to the south, and then we hit the house again. That is the extent of what we can see with the observatory. Looking at the inside, this was the telescope initially with the camera connected directly into the telescope, and that gave me problems with the focus. The focus motor here is connected directly to the mirror, and it moves the mirror back and forth in an effort to focus, and that proved to be problematic because of the weight of the mirror. Whenever the mirror moved around, the object in the mirror, the object in the field of view jumped around and gave us problems. That is the Celestron focuser motor, and it drove the knob that adjusts the mirror back and forth. I will show you in a second what that does with the focus program. This is Sharp Cap, and it gives me the ability to adjust the focus. And in this case, I'm looking at Jupiter and trying to focus around it. And as soon as I say move the mirror to see the focus, you can see Jupiter moving out. Any movement of the mirror and the target in the objective moves all over the place. That made it all but impossible to focus the telescope. I'd like to lock the mirrors and just move the camera in and out. And that required doing some quick engineering. I bought this Crayford focuser, supposed to be feather-like focuser, to insert into the optical train. This end connects to the tube, and the other end connects to the camera. This is the focus motor, and I had to find a way to connect it. So it was a trip to Home Depot. I found this logging wedge about 5.5 inches long, and I thought that will serve the purpose. And then we went to the hardware area and found a bracket. And I thought that that bracket will allow us to connect it. And then, needless to say, a hose clamp was necessary. I started with this screwdriver and then cut it off here in order to connect the screwdriver. There is a screwdriver inserted into the focus motor and driving the camera in and out instead of driving the mirror in and out. That is the bracket, that's the motor, and this is the wedge. This is a side view, and you can see the hose clamp wrapped around the Crayford focuser. I took one of the knobs out and used the broken screwdriver to plug into the focuser motor, and then it was a matter of testing it to see if that will do the job. This way the camera will go in and out and not the mirror going in and out. That is the mirror, and never mind the wooden ruler that I used there for my cable management. And this is the part that would have to move in and out. Okay, let's see if we can test it with the Sharp Cap and see what kind of results we can get. And there is Sharp Cap, repeating what we had done earlier. This time it was Saturn. Tools, Focus Assistant, and it is a planet. We put it inside, and notice at the lower end the green arrow that indicates where the focus is right now. And as we change the focus, reset it, and move it out, and then move it in small steps inwards. There it is, it has moved all the way out, and Saturn did not move inside the box, which was my goal all along. Now we hit focus, and you will see this area going in steps all the way up, looking for the optimum focus, and there it is. So the implementation of this contraption indeed worked, and it allowed for extremely fine focusing of the targets. And that is Saturn at the end of the day. So today, before we went live, I went down and took some videos of the optical train. This is the telescope. This is still the focuser. I have added since an atmospheric dispersion corrector to allow us to take planet imagery at very low altitudes. The camera we have upgraded since to an ASI585. It is an 8 megapixel. That's what provides us the 4K resolution. And there is a stepper motor for the focuser. There is the old screwdriver that's driving the Crayford feather focuser. And on the side, further to the right, is the guide scope. I use that primarily to lock onto a target, and it will drive the scope. It uses an ASI120 monochrome camera for the purposes that we need. That is all that is necessary. So that is the setup that I'm using now, and it has served me well. I'm going to take you through some of the results that we accomplished recently before I hop onto the configuration for the satellite captures. This was Saturn before the rings closed completely. And then I took that capture and I stacked it using AstroSurface. And that's what we got. I was very pleased to see the Cassini division in the rings. That is not the best Saturn that I've obtained, but that's the one that I was able to find this afternoon as I was preparing for this talk. This is one of the prouder moments. Bill may remember that we were hunting for the blue lake in the Ina crater on the moon, and right down there we were able to achieve it. Pay attention here. This is the Chinese space station transiting the moon. I'm going to play this repeatedly, so if you are unable to see it yet, you can see it. It starts from the left, sorry, from the right, over the black area, and then it goes over the moon. It is amazing how well focused the space station is, to the point where we are indeed seeing the solar panels very clear. This was during daytime, but it is not as big of a deal because we knew that it was transiting the moon, and we anticipated the entry and exit point, so it was just a matter of putting the telescope on the moon and waiting. That is another picture of the moon taken with the Edge HD. This is Mercury. That is Mars. Mars is too far from us now to get any fidelity of it. This is the dwarf planet. This is Jupiter with the great red spot, more of Jupiter. This is a Io transiting Jupiter. That is Ganymede, the moon of Jupiter. There is Saturn again in broad daylight. And then Uranus, Neptune. Just a quick expose of what we can get. Now we're going to be getting soon to this challenge of how do we get the International Space Station and the Chinese Space Station in broad daylight. So I'm going to stop this one here and switch screens on you. We'll be back here in a moment. All right, I have a camera down in the observatory. Simply Safe does not allow me to remain logged on and monitoring because it says it's a security feature. So hopefully it will stay on for a moment. Okay. This is the telescope, and this is an infrared image. I do not turn the infrared on if I'm imaging anything real at night because it will flood the sensors. And this is the computer here. I'm going to go step by step with what we do. The very first thing is to launch SharpCap and connect to the camera, the 585. And this is just a minor idiosyncrasy. I have to connect to the focuser separately before I launch the Celestron plane wave instruments interface. Of course, it says there is a new version and I refuse to upgrade from the one that works. I tried the new versions and there have been 4 or 5 of them, and none of them does the job. No thank you. Connection. This one allows me to choose between a mount USB or a hand controller, and the new versions do not allow that choice. It is a very cumbersome way to deal with it. I'm going to go with the mount USB. Unpark it, and we are connected. With a bit of luck, I can show you the scope moving. We're going to go to Merkab. And there it is moving. The next thing that I launch here is Starry Night. My experience has been that Starry Night 8 provides the most dependable location of satellites, and it has not failed me. I used to look at Stellarium, Skytrack, Starry Night, and a few other programs, and looking at 3 different programs, I'll get 4 different answers to my question. Now we're going to connect it to the telescope. Again, using CPWI, connect, and we should see the telescope right around Merkab. There it is. So it knows where we are. With that in mind, I'm going to switch to a different setting for just a moment, and This was yesterday. Where is my display? Ah, okay. There we go. Why are we not able to get to the main monitor display? Primary monitor. Okay, there we go. This was sending it to Altair during daytime. And I want to show you what a star looks like in broad daylight. There it is. There is Altair in broad daylight. So we are able to indeed go star hunting during the day. And back to our earlier display of that kind of star hunting. I'm gonna stop this one. And return to the main display. There we go. In this case here, if I'm looking for the International Space Station and there is a passage, I will stop the time and then roll the time up here into the future. Looking for the International Space Station. There it is. And all I need to do is send the telescope to where it is expected to be. And wait for it there. And I can go back to real time. Uh-oh. Okay, it almost flipped, but did not. And I will wait for it there. And this is what happened earlier. Let me straighten it just a little bit for my comfort. There are 30 pounds of weight at the end here. And by sitting and waiting there, we are able to achieve and this is what we captured in the process. I'm repeating it, but when we send the telescope and have it sit in one location as I showed you earlier, we were able to hone in on Altair, or for that matter, any star. And I will show you why we're able to do that. Display go away. CPWI, the Celestron plane wave instruments interface to the telescope, provide for an alignment and a pointing model. And there is the pointing model that shows for a bunch of targets how far off we were every time we tried to get to that target. In this case, I have 18 calibration points, and those calibration points, right ascension and declination, and what the error was. And in this case, the error 51 minutes, 37 minutes. These are big errors, but at the end of the day, they provide for the coefficients of the neural network that is trying to find the target as specified. And this distribution happens to be good enough for what I need to do. And this is where I am able to send it to any target, including this in broad daylight, as long as we know what the right ascension and coordinates are. So with that success, I wanted to get more than just one pass. Here, what I had done with the sharp cap is anticipating the arrival. I would start the capture 30 seconds before, and then we get about half a second worth of transit. And then go look through 2,000 or so frames to see which ones actually have the space station in them. That's what I called on another piece of software. And that is SkyTrack. SkyTrack is one of the few things that I actually paid money for. It's all of $8. It used to be Canadian, now it's US. To get a lifetime license to use this software. Definitely worth every penny. And it downloads the TLE model for all the satellites in our neighborhood, and it will show you where any one of them is. And this one is coming down our way in a nice, very nice way. Let me connect it to the telescope. And I'm going to enable tracking as soon as it crosses the azimuth. I want you to pay attention to this part here. This is where the telescope is right now. And this is the path of the... Will it let me go bigger? Yes, thank you. This is the path of the satellite. And this is where the telescope currently is. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a moment. We'll be coming back to it. And I am going to tell it to start satellite tracking. Uh-oh. Nope, it's going the wrong direction. Let me find one that's coming towards us, not away from us. This one's going the wrong direction also. All right, this one is coming in the right direction. This one is coming our way. Again, there's a satellite down here. Okay, there's the satellite. And there is the telescope. So we're going to tell it to go get it and track it. And Start satellite tracking. And at this point, not much for me to do, because the program is going to have the telescope chase the satellite. It's going to leapfrog every 6 seconds or so. When that circle turns green, it means the telescope is spot on top of the satellite. And when it turns red, it means it's chasing it. Green, it's on top of it. Here it shows the mount separation and the interception time. And if I were to start sharp cap now, it would be capturing the entire way. But my rule of thumb has been not to try to capture unless we are above 40 or so degrees altitude. Otherwise, we're going to have very fuzzy looking imagery. When that circle goes red, it means it's chasing the satellite. When the circle goes green, it means it's on top of it. I did not want to play with the futility of start and stopping sharp cap only when it's green, but I let it run for a full 2 minutes and let the program do its thing. Unfortunately, during that exercise, I have the ability to stop satellite tracking. And whenever I click on stop satellite tracking, the program crashes and crashes everything with it. So I have a little check mark here. It says stop tracking when the satellite is eclipsed. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to come back to it. It says loss of sight is in 9 minutes, so we're not going to sit here the full 9 minutes. I'm going to show you what that accomplished for us. And we will be back to look at it as we wrap up the discussion. So this was the International Space Station yesterday. With the help of SkyTrack. Please notice that in consecutive bunch of pictures, the sky is getting brighter. The International Space Station is getting less focused and fuzzier. On that particular pass, the International Space Station came from the zenith, from above, and came straight down. So I was hitting it as it was going down. I have this video posted on the channel. By the way, for those who are joining us for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. It is the only channel on YouTube that streams live in 4K resolution from multiple telescopes. And we think we are the only ones also doing daytime astrophotography. We will have a full complement of stars and space stations again if the clouds move out before spring. We'll see. So that was an actual pass. I'm going to play it one more time. SkyTrack driving the telescope. And there's a telescope now still following. There are a couple of things I want to show you on SkyTrack. I'm going to stop this one. And let's see if we still have our yep, it is still live. You can see the telescope has just moved. Every 6 or so seconds it's gonna jump. Yep, there it goes. Trying to stay ahead of the station. It will leapfrog it, and if the dome had not been closed, it will be taking pictures now. Now down here, I doubt that you can see it unless you have a 77-inch monitor. There is an option for continuous tracking. And unfortunately, CPWI failed the calibration test because it was not feeding its position back to the ASCOM driver fast enough. Actually, the Celestron telescope is designed to, whenever you send it to a target, to go above the target and then drop on it using the weights and gravity, so it's always pushing against the weight. It is intended to go along the RA, the right ascension, so only one of the motors needs to work, and it doesn't need to work hard because the weights, the balanced mount allows it to use the least amount of energy to stay on a trajectory. The path of a satellite is not that kind of trajectory. And this is why, for this particular telescope, I'm unable to do continuous tracking. I have been able to do continuous tracking with my Ioptron AS Pro. With the big however, the Ioptron does not have the pointing model that Celestron does. So the trade-off was, with Ioptron, I could never find the International Space Station, but I was able to track it very smoothly. In this case here, we're able to jump ahead of it and hit it repeatedly without any problem. You can see the scope still moving, and we're approaching the end of the line here. I just want to show you how the red is going to turn green, or actually gray, in 3 minutes and 35 seconds, as soon as we lose sight of the satellite. This particular program, for the $8 that you pay, also has all the astronomical objects that you can think of. So you can use it to go to pretty much any target in the sky. It has a pointing model with the big however. It relies on plate solving to back up the model, and we don't have the luxury of plate solving when we are chasing a satellite that's moving as fast as the International Space Station or the Chinese space station would be moving. So we are 2 minutes to sunset, 2.5. So now that we're able to get the International Space Station and the Chinese Space Station during daytime, and we're able to get other satellites during day and night, we're going to be fairly busy chasing celestial objects. By the way, for those who have not heard, Voyager 1, on its way away from the solar system, discovered a wall of fire that appears to be protecting the solar system. Extremely sparse and extremely hot in the 80,000 Fahrenheit temperature range, way out there. Voyager is only one light day away now. It has been traveling for 42 years. We are 1 minute and change to lose the satellite. So that is the combination of the programs. We have SkyTrack, we have Starry Night 8, and this should show us where is the telescope pointing now. Wherever the telescope is, somewhere out there. Oh, there it is. It is descending. And then we have SharpCap also showing us where the telescope is. And CPWI showing us where the telescope is. And that's the beauty of ASCOM. It allows you to have a whole bunch of programs all talking same language to each other. Okay, we have lost the view and it has stopped tracking the satellite. We're done. This concludes this exercise. Let's see if the telescope will still respond to us. Yep, it's going. Let's see if there is another satellite coming our way. Yeah, this is a possibility. There's the satellite, there's the telescope. We can go chase it. All right, this one we're going to have to stop it. Maybe, maybe not. In the meantime, I'm open to questions. Anyone has any question, please ask away. As you can see, the scope is still chasing. And every time the circle turns green, it means it is spot on. Yes. Rick, no, this is a Skyshed pod from Canada, not an Exploradome. Jeff, you're going to have a ton of fun with SkyTrack. I have been using it for several years now, and the author has been extremely responsive to comments and suggestions, and Bill, what I did not show you is I have a microform desktop sitting on the floor under the telescope, actually high enough so it doesn't get flooded. And it has the 2 hard drives, a 32 gigabytes of RAM, a very high speed CPU, and that's what I use to drive the telescopes, but most importantly to do the capture. Goodbye, Zena. I try to tire out my pups so that they will let me do this. I access that computer via a Chrome remote desktop. This is the remote computer, and it is on the network, and I access it via remote desktop. We're approaching the self-imposed 50-minute because students cannot pay attention longer than that. Bill, don't tell anyone, but that's how I get through the Oswego firewalls to control the 16-inch telescope from the comfort of my desk here. You can probably see in the background the current visible satellites and the current and upcoming satellite passes. And you can filter by magnitude and by lots of other things. Under setup, you can specify the interface setup, the legacy setup, the orbital data, all categories, just the brightest satellites, and automatically download fresh orbital data every time you start the program, which guarantees that we're going to hit it if the telescope has a good pointing model. That's the catch. Okay, camera doesn't want to play anymore. Goodbye. The interesting thing is the $8 or $10, whatever it is that you pay for it, is actually a donation to a charity that the designer, the author, the programmer of this program uses his program to contribute to that local charity in Canada. So we're approaching the end of the journey on this particular satellite track. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. My plan is to go live every Monday at 8, whether it is cloudy or clear. We have a ton of stuff to cover if we cannot look at the sky. So please do join us. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you. We reached 5,000 subscribers yesterday morning. And with that in mind, so long from Pompey.